Who are the real victims? Black men or white cops? On today's Carlos Hardy Show, we'll be discussing that. We'll be right back.
Carlos Hardy Show, yeah, 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 yeah. It's the Carlos Hardy Show, yeah, 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 yeah. Come on, let's do it. 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 It's the Carlos Hardy Show, yeah, 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 yeah. It's the Carlos Hardy Show, yeah, 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 yeah. Come on. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's do it.
Welcome back to the Carlos Hardy Show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Okay, let's meet our panel. We're going to be talking about white cops, black men. Okay, meet my panel. This is director, acting coach. This is Choice Skinner. Yeah. And then we have the artiste, Maurice, what is it, Meredith?
Yes.
Maurice Meredith. And then our resident guest panelist, this is Dustin Bothwell. Okay, so we all know that, there's been issues over the course of, let's say, 10 years. It probably has gone even further than that, but we're just going to talk about the last 10 years where there's been black men and white cops. Who's the real victims in this? I know what the media says, but who's the real victims here? Choice, start with you.
The real victims are the community, the black community in whole. It's funny, I was thinking about this because I knew that this was the topic, and I said, on the way, what do I want to talk about in regards to that whole scenario? Mm-hmm. We were just saying, we don't have rights. When you go back and you look at the 13th Amendment and mm-hmm. all of those things that's happening, black Americans unfortunately believe that they are equal, and we're not.
Okay.
And so the victims are the community as a whole, because if one person...
Which community?
Black community.
Black community.
Oh, definitely. If one person is victimized by the police, then that's a ripple effect that everybody feels.
Okay. Yeah. Maurice, what do you think about that?
Oh, man. I would definitely agree. The black community, we are the victims. It just goes to show, just look at everything that just happens.
Okay.
And it's like, for one, what they choose to
Who's
put
they?
Well, say for people who control the media, the
okay,
stuff
the
that they put out on the media.
Okay.
Like to objectify us as if we're all like this. Like say for instance, if they got this guy acting a fool
mm-hmm.
or whatever, then they make it seem as if all black people are like this. And so we come across as like we're dangerous, we're this, we're that, and mm-hmm. that's not the case.
That's not the case. Okay, Dustin, chime in.
I'm actually agreeing with, I'm sorry, it is Maurice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the way the media and just basically in general established the black community, even when you guys first got the message out there and were trying to open a dialogue, just a discussion in general, mm-hmm. to just have just be this is happening in our community, please be aware of this. The second they took a hold of that and they ran with it, they made it into something just almost diabolical. And it just seemed a little bit even out of place to sit there and say hey, we just want to have a discussion, you know? And instead the most recent thing I saw was the Antifa movement that was even there was now this is associated with Black Lives Matter. And I was where did you guys go from there to there? How did you get there? And it was almost one of those things where there was no discourse or something. Somebody just kind of sat there and said this is what it is now.
Right.
And nobody actually, nobody in the crowd was just whoa, hey,
I get that. I truly do. And it is my belief as well that these things are happening to certain people and not all people. Mm-hmm. That's just, not all black Americans are experiencing what you guys are saying, are being victims or being victimized. So what do you say to that? When I can speak for myself personally,
well,
I don't.
Yeah, obviously, lower income communities, they get it worse. I'm a project child myself. I grew up in the projects.
Yes.
But the thing is that back then there was PAL, which was the Police Athletic, league and mm-hmm. stuff like that. We did have a certain type of relationship with the police. Yeah, if the drug dealers or the pimps and the guys who were doing dirty was involved in the community in the wrong way, we encourage the cops to go in on them. And,
yes.
Of course.
As a community, correct?
As a community. Listen, the thing to me is that he said the media, he's so right. This has been going on for the last 15 to 20 years. Well, how long ago was the Rodney King?
That's 92.
That's 92. So that's when things were really implemented. You're talking about a Hegelian dialectic. And when you start to look at how things are implemented to where they want things to go to a specific way, it's been in place for a minute.
Okay, and I get that. Okay, but let me ask you this, Choice. Maurice, Dustin, how much is that is the black American, the black person? How much is that mentally is a systemic in our own brains? How much is that are we contributing to this epidemic that you guys are saying happened between black cops and white, I'm sorry, white cops and black people? How much of that is in our own head, Dustin?
Well, to be honest with you, it's like you said, you're using words like victim and suspect and stuff like that, but there's also witnesses to this, and the witnesses themselves are telling 3,000 different stories. And you said so yourself, when the community was open and engaged in a dialect with police officers, it was more of an open community. Nowadays, it's not an idea of me saying that people are afraid of cops.
Right.
You know, I'm white, I'm terrified of them. I'll tell you. No, seriously. Okay. They are basically the law. And that's not me trying to be judgmental. That is me being accurate and precise. But if I'm in danger, I know I'm calling them.
Exactly.
But at the same time,
that's my point. If we're in danger, we're calling cops.
We're calling cops, but at the same time,
that's what we're calling.
I've had a trigger-happy cop point a loaded gun at me before, and it's one of those things where, to me, that's the issue. It's either blatant, like just bad training, ignorance, or like you said, the community is not opening a discourse.
But I think it's ignorant in the community as well.
When do we get to a point where we remember they work for us?
Exactly. Yeah. That is true.
I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, I mentioned the 13th Amendment. I mentioned that black people really don't have the rights they feel they have. But if you're an active community person, or if you're a person, you're a business owner, you're paying taxes, they work for us.
Yes.
Right. See, I feel like it's a problem with, like you say, say if we're in danger, we'll call the cops. That's something that we would do. It's a problem where, say if I am in danger, I question whether or not I'm gonna call the cops.
That's true.
I do that all the time.
Are you serious?
I question it.
I'm going to be with him on this one because
y'all believe that.
No.
There's been times where I've called. There's been a time where a stranger, I don't know who the hell this guy was. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, banging on my door, nonstop. Like I thought he had a gun or something. I called, scared, nobody came. I waited up hours. The cops never came. Never came. Okay. And I don't know what it's because I live in LA. Or what is this? Or there's like, oh yeah, this is clearly a black guy on the phone. I'm not coming. But I don't know. I don't know what the case is.
But is that playing in your, Maurice, listen to me. Is that playing in your own head that I do not like cops? The cops are bad. No, honestly, do you have these thoughts? Honestly, because I believe thoughts, as a man thinketh, so is he. That's just what it boils down to. Point blank. Let's go there first. Are you having these thoughts? I hate cops.
I don't think I hate cops.
Okay.
I don't hate cops, but at the same time.
But where do you get that belief from then? That belief has to come from somewhere.
Well, I guess maybe say my own personal experience of stuff that I've dealt with cops. Like, for instance, every time I get pulled over, just because I have a nice car. Okay. I get pulled over all the time just because it's a nice car. There's no reason why I'm getting pulled over. And then the last time, it was actually this year. Yes. I got pulled over late at night, just got off of work. Cop has his hand on his gun. Man. He's like, you know why I stopped you? I was like, no, sir. And then after, he was like, so where are you going? He sees that I have my server pack with money in it. He's like, where do you get all this cash from? He's like, oh, do you sell drugs? How'd you afford this car?
But, okay, let me say this, because a lot of people are thinking this at home. I get that, 100%. Now, I don't get pulled over because, I just think differently. I'm being honest with you. I just think differently. I haven't been pulled over in years, probably like 20, 25 years. I haven't. You know what I mean? But my point is, if they're asking you, let me see your papers, slavery, don't do it. Let me see your papers. Let me see your license. Let me see your driver's license. What is that money for? Answer the questions and keep it moving. Why do we log it? And
because
why do we log it?
I got this one.
Why do we log it?
Because here's the simple fact of the matter, and I'm gonna side with Maurice on this.
Who cares?
Hold on. Here's the simple fact of the matter is this: there's laws in place to protect the citizens, and then there's also laws in place to protect the cops.
Yes.
And here's where the dynamic shifts. A lot of the times people think those laws are sitting there they're going to protect him all the time.
Yes.
I can go with this fact that the cop asked him a question about his wallet, why he has all that money. Civil asset forfeiture. That's one of the newest laws that's on the books for cops. It's in most states. And it's the most mind-boggling thing that I've ever said is they look in a car and they say, oh, that's really cool that you have that. There's a possibility a crime is being committed.
Are you offended?
Am I offended? Am I offended? Because there's a possibility he can go in my car. Hold on. There's a possibility he can go in my car now with illegal search and seizure, take it, and not give it back.
Listen. The public opinion is this: when a black person has been pulled over, when a black person has called, like this just happened.
Yes.
It was mind-boggling where a pregnant black woman got into a situation at an elementary school. She called the cops, the lady that had accused her of cutting her off and threatening her.
Right.
The cop didn't even question the black woman.
Okay.
Questioned the white woman, and they accosted the black woman. She was 7 months pregnant.
Okay.
Okay, so there's this thing where when you look at the internet trolls or the computer people who will go and say, well, why was she so loud and why was she so belligerent?
Right.
First off, let me explain something to you. I grew up in a loud house. My mom was loud.
Right.
And it helped
It's
me
just-
as
it's
an
just a
actor.
culture.
When you grow up with siblings, you're loud too. I grew up with 4 brothers, you're loud.
There is a difference. We're powerful people. We have voices. There is a difference in how I'm going to speak to someone compared to maybe someone who grew up in Bensonhurst.
Okay.
There is a difference, and that misunderstanding of the community and the culture is part of the culprit, in my opinion.
I'm with you, and when we come back, I'm going to refute everything you just said. I'm just letting you know. We'll be right back.
Getting eager right there. Getting eager.
Another episode of Carlos Hardy Show.
Coming up on the next Carlos Hardy Show.
You actually sat there and said, is it because you had the white privilege that you were trying to attack, or was it you who was the villain? Like, in my opinion, is which one was it for you? Is it your inner thoughts, your anger, your animosity towards the fact that you've been oppressed, or is it because you see somebody else getting a handout?
If you feel like it is something that you rise above, racism, white privilege, whatever, you feel like it doesn't affect you, you feel like, you know, I'm gonna make it on my own, you just work harder, whatever, that's amazing. You don't get to dismiss a whole movement because you feel stronger than the people being oppressed by it. And you being strong, that's amazing. You need to be leading these movements.
But as opposed to allowing someone to call themselves out, I can care less, Dustin, if you or anyone watching at home would say, oh, white privilege exists. It doesn't affect, I won't let it affect my life because I've got this thing in my mind, audience, that, okay, regardless of what's going on here, I'm going to progress. Welcome back to the Carlos Hardy Show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We truly appreciate it. We're talking about black men, white cops. Okay. This subject has gone on for decades, and I don't know if we're going to solve it in a 30-minute, 15-minute show, but it's great to have that conversation and talk about it. Now, before we went to break, he was talking about
Yeah, just basically how the perception is by the public. You know, white people will look at black people and say, well, why don't you just do what the cop says? Why you got to be so loud? Yeah. You know, and it goes back to me having that understanding of we really don't have rights. Yeah. Because it's never truly been established. It's never truly been ratified that we have the right to protest in regards to laws that are protecting us.
And I get that. Now, we all know, and I think hopefully establishing this, that at one point in time there were slaves in this country. And at that point in time when the slaves would, be walking the fields or whatever in whatever country, city they were in, they would be pulled over. Or, hey, are you free? So at some point in time, that slave owner asked these people, where are your papers? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
So there's an energy that we've passed down. When a cop pulls us over, we go back to that slave mentality mentally, and we think, oh my God, this guy is asking me about my freedom. He's not asking me about your freedom. He just want to know where your license is. That's it. Now the media, let's go to the media. Okay, they have told you, I'm telling you, and they repeatedly tell you. So when something happens, it's on every news with music, beautiful harmonies that tell you how to feel. And until you feel how you want to feel, it will continue to happen. You will continue to get pulled over. Okay, continue. Ain't gonna matter. You're going to continue to get pulled over. You're going to continue to go through the things you're going to go through, and Dustin's going to be neutral because he don't care about any of it.
Wow. Wow, no.
Got him.
No. Lord, no.
I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. But you,
please, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Let's make that apparent.
But you guys get what I'm saying. The thought of it precedes the manifestation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it goes both ways. I mean, listen, the thing is it's there may be that thought. I don't have that thought. Yeah. I teach martial arts to police officers, you know, and I have several students and friends of mine who are police retired on the force still.
Right.
So there is a double standard, but there is a responsibility that has to go both ways.
With who?
With everyone, with the white cops and with the black people. So listen, I'm saying this. If I get pulled over, I'm a little bit more leery now than I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, my mind was a little different. Now I'm a little bit more leery because when you look at the media, people are getting shot for doing nothing.
Right. But
That's terrifying.
I get that. But
because of this.
Do we gotta put the names out there? The people getting it's live footage of people getting shot
for nothing.
For nothing.
Okay,
for nothing.
Okay, but I get that. But have we ever thought about why that person got shot? But wait a minute. And I'm not saying I'm not criticizing the victim. But have we ever thought about why that specific person got shot and not the rest of those?
It's no different than watching the video and then the internet trolls would be like, we got to see what happened beforehand.
Yeah.
I ain't got to see what happened beforehand if somebody got shot and ain't got nothing in their hand. And it's obvious. What do I have to know that happened beforehand? What do I got to know? What do you call them a pig and, oh, well, I'm going to shoot you? That's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
Dustin, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying,
Fill in the
here's the thing,
blanks.
it's what?
Fill in the blanks. Go ahead.
Well, it's the idea, for me, it's just excessive force in general. Cops nowadays, when they go into a situation in general, and this is...
They're not being trained properly.
This is not an issue for me with the race. It's just, it's excessive force. I mean, I went into my own house one time and had a cop pull a gun on me because a silent alarm was tripped.
Wow.
And that's just one of those things where it's just like, I understand that you are there to enforce the law, but you're not Judge Dredd, okay?
Right.
You're not there to start piling up bodies like you're playing Call of Duty. You're supposed to sit there and assess the situation.
Right.
But that, like you said, it needs to go both ways. And you need to have that dialogue with the police officer. You need to be able to speak to them. And a lot of the times, the communities aren't able to do that anymore.
Because they hate them.
It's not an issue of hate.
Listen, if a cop having a bad day, and I'll even give you that situation with the nurse just recently.
Yeah.
She didn't do nothing. She was doing her job, and he just all of a sudden went and put her arm behind her back and
power tripping.
She paid right now. She paid because he was power tripping.
Right.
I mean, if he's having a bad day, he's having a bad day.
But let me ask you this. I get that people having bad days. We get that. Cops have bad days. Even regular people have bad days. And we've known some people who have gotten arrested who needed that arrestment. Sorry, they have.
But this is not an issue of talking to a cop. It's an issue of talking to an authority figure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is somebody that literally holds power over you. So it's not an issue. Here's the thing.
Well, to an extent, you're right. To an extent, because like I said, we got to go back to understanding they work for us.
And that's the other key thing too. I show people respect if I respect them and they've earned my respect. Yes. I don't know the guy that just pulled me over. Right. I don't know what kind of day he's having. The only thing I know is he has a badge and a gun. Right. And that's a two-step process for me because now I need to figure out was he trained properly? Mm-hmm. Does he suspect something? Mm-hmm. At the same time, is he pissed? Right. And if those three factors are like, I'm already apprehensive now. I'm anxiety-ridden. And now I don't know how to talk to that authority figure, so I can't open a good dialogue and discussion.
But what you're doing in that moment, Dustin, if you're giving all the power.
I'm not giving him the power. Hold on.
You said he hasn't been trained, he has a gun, he has a badge.
I said there's a possibility that because
there's a power in audience, listen to me. No, right here. There is a power. Trust me on this. I'm just being honest.
So let me ask you a question. Are you supposed to show every authoritarian figure, no matter their place in society, personal respect no matter what?
Yes.
Like a politician, like the king, like a monarch.
Yes.
Somebody
it's a job. That's
somebody like a theocratic monarch. You're supposed to, no matter what, you're just supposed to be like, I'm good.
Let me make this small point.
Just because they're a cop doesn't make them superior.
And their job is supposed to de-escalate, not escalate.
They chose to take that job.
A lot of the situations you've seen lately, they escalated.
They are not, just because they are in a position of power does not mean that they have the power. That doesn't make sense.
This is the question I would ask you.
It's just like any job.
This is the question.
Exactly.
And their job is to protect and serve. And that's their
job. They protecting themselves. They ain't serving nobody.
They ain't serving shit.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. But listen to me. Is it worth it? Because you guys want to be right.
No.
Listen to me. Let me say this. Is it worth your life to be right? If someone pulls you over and says, "Hey, what's going on with this? What's this in the bag? And why you get the car?" And is it worth your life to be right? Honestly, that's just my thing. Because I will be wrong. I would say, "Oh, okay, what do you want to do? Hands here, here's this, here's that." It doesn't matter. It does nothing to my manhood. hood to follow instruction and get out of there and go home to my family.
I see now. I feel like now we're talking about something else when you say that, because with that, I get it. Like, I mean, say when I'm put in those situations, I know this is probably like, damn, I don't know why I'm getting pulled over, whatever. I've been taught, you know what, you stay alive. Do whatever it takes to stay alive. And I follow those steps. But at the same time, I don't agree with that, why I have to do that. Because I don't feel like anybody that's not black has to deal with that. That right there, that get pulled over, for the most part.
It goes back to that scene. It goes back to that scene in Crash when Terrence Howard and Thandie Newton, when the cop is just doing his business. That just happened to a friend of mine on Ventura Boulevard in middle of broad daylight, where the cop was literally fondling his groin. I mean, playing like the Terry Crews type of thing, you know, squeezing
just in there.
And he put it on Facebook. He never thought that would happen to him.
Right.
Never. But it happened. So what do? Do you just, you know, you cool with it? Like, you let somebody, you know what I'm saying, just get in there and work it out? Because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do. I'm just saying.
He's over me, so I gotta let him.
Right, you know what I'm saying? You got the gun, so it's rape any way you look at it.
Here's my thing, is you were sitting there saying, like, you want to be right. You want to have this discourse with the cop.
Do you want to be right? Yes.
My thing is not wanting to be right. My thing is wanting to engage and have a discussion with him. Like you said,
which is a different perspective.
But the same thing. The same thing is, I know, but that's the same. I have that perspective. I want to engage in discourse. But at the same time, sitting there saying, like, I'm fine with just being quiet and complacent and going home, that doesn't begin the discussion. That does not open the dialogue. That does not create change. If anything, you just kind of sit there and you're just like, oh, that's cool, I made it home. I'll order a pizza now.
No.
Like, see, like this, and then you turn on the news. Then you turn on the news.
I like the video.
I mean, as a people, like, we've been silenced all our freaking life.
You're talking about being submissive.
Yeah, you're telling us to just be silent and just allow people.
I'm not saying that.
I like the videos. I like the YouTube videos of the white dudes that walk down the street with the guns, or they be in the car and then they go, you know, they go, I don't want to answer any questions. You know,
the vertical videos. The vertical videos.
And they're going.
It's like, I know the law because I binge watched Law and Order.
And they don't get in trouble.
It's like, what?
They don't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? A black guy say it. They break the window, kids in the back. You know what I'm saying? My man gets shot. Pow pow. Why? You know, I didn't. You know, I don't even want to go for the card. Where's your gun? It's under my seat. Don't move.
This subject would take.
Wait, got the roach thing going. Don't move.
My whole thing is if you sit there and say you want to be right and you just want to be submissive, you're never going to open a dialogue.
That's not it. But hey, we're here, right?
We're here having a discussion because, but that's proactive. But to sit there and say
that when I got back here and I'm having a discussion.
Exactly, because you wanted to have this
platform. But did you want to like y'all freaking going crazy? But
did you want to have a discussion? But did you want to have a discussion?
It's over.
But did you want to have a discussion with the?
Thank you, Choice. Thank you, Maurice. Give me a hand. That's what I want. I want a spirited debate about this conversation. That's all I care for. That's all I ask, is to have a spirited debate. We don't have to fight. We can just have a good conversation and come out and realize that I'm right. You get what I'm saying? Until next time, my Carlos Hardy. Bye. Bye.
Leave a question, comment, a like, or subscribe below. The takeover has begun.